Hey everybody, welcome to a very exciting episode of NC-17. My name is Josh, and today we have a very well talented, very awesome actress. Her name is Morgan Milam. How are you doing today?
I am good. How are you?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. Uh First and foremost, true scream queen. I'm gonna put it out there now. Yeah. You
Thank you.
you run the gamut of emotions, and that is fucking awesome. So
Thank you. I appreciate that. Still a work in progress, but yeah.
Uh, so before we get into the films and stuff, kind of take us back a little bit to when you were a child. What kind of influenced you, and when did you find out that movies was the path that you wanted to do?
So it is kind of like I'm always okay, first and foremost, I am literally the worst person to ask questions about themselves. Because I absolutely despise talking about myself. I'm so bad. I would rather put other people on a pedestal than speak on about myself. So like my story is probably going to be a little long and it's going to be a little jumbly. Hopefully I could just kind of mush it together and make this one a little smoother than it normally is when people ask me this question. Um, so I have always loved horror and film in general my whole life. My dad and my mom never really were too keen on, kind of like they censored what I watched, but they didn't like censor it the way a lot of other people's parents, censored the stuff they watched growing up. Like, I mean, my first horror movie well, my first horror movies, my first memory involves two movies. I actually remember watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and I remember my dad coming in the room and cutting it off because it was the part where Leatherface has Stretch cornered and she's like pretending to have sex with the chainsaw. And he was like, "This is way too mature for you. Why are you watching this?" And then after that, I distinctly remember watching The Evil Dead 2 all the time. I watched the special features, the bonus features. I watched the movie. I was so obsessed with the scene where Linda's corpse reanimates and starts like dancing in the woods, like in her head spinning, all that claymation. I always thought that that was so cool. So I'd always been kind of fascinated with horror, always loved horror, always found it to be more comforting than scary, if anything. And then as I got older, I was kind of that weird kid, never really had a lot of friends, and I did have friendships, they never lasted long. So I kind of found friendship in horror movies. I've always loved the monsters more than I loved the people because, the monsters made me feel comfortable. Um, and as I started to get into my teens, I was like, I think I'd really like to pursue a career in this somehow. So I kind of looked into haunt acting, and then it went from there. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's a lot.
Hey, it's all good. I mean, a lot of my from I my mom didn't really kind of tell us what we can or cannot watch. My very first movie I remember word for word was Sleepaway Camp. So
I love that. The ending to that movie is such a like, oh
oh
my
yeah,
God.
oh yeah. uh, so as you were kind of taking strides to start to do your film, start getting into the film industry and stuff like that, was horror always the genre that you were going to do no matter what?
Always. I had no doubts.
Oh yeah. Uh, so let's get right into your films because I've seen quite a few of them. Uh, I kind of want to save the best for last, and but there's also part of me that's like I need to get right into it. But we'll go through a couple first. So you're the first thing I've seen you in was The Curse of Lilith Ratchet. You played Jamie. That was a decent movie. That was a good movie.
That was a good movie. That was really fun. The woman that plays Lilith Ratchet is actually the sweetest human being on this planet. So it's kind of funny.
Oh yeah. So what was your experiences on art? Here we go, because I know you say you don't really you like to put everybody else up front. So what was it like working with the other people? I'll say it like that.
So I was on the set for maybe a good portion of the of a day. But I wasn't on set very long. I will say that my first experience in film was a positive one. Um, the set was run very well. I remember everybody being super friendly. You know, the girls were friendly. The director was friendly. You know, the crew was super friendly. I got to help doing special effects makeup a little bit, mostly just like kind of taking off and putting on some things for the girl that I share the scene with. Yeah, it was cool. I had a really good time. There was a lot of firsts for me on that set. So
Uh, uh, the St. Patrick's Day, the Sua Awakens, you play Nina. Uh, what was your experiences on that film? I've seen that film quite a few times. Not gonna lie.
I don't remember. So like it was mixed. Um, I will say that script was a little more risque for that version of myself as an actress because I had really just started getting into dancing. Um, you know, so I hadn't really put a lot of myself out there, and I agreed to do that scene, and then I remember getting a message from a friend, and they were like, "Yo, we just watched this movie," because he's also in it. And he was like, "I didn't realize that you were gonna be that nude." And I was like, "What do you mean?" What like, what do you mean? So I had him, I like watched it, and it was a lot of nudity that I did not approve and I was not okay with. So they had to go back in and like do a re-edit because I did not want my whole lower half exposed. Like I was like, come on, guys. We
Yeah.
we did not agree on that for this movie. I did my full frontal way later into my film career, and it was very fun, super great experience. I will never do it again. So,
Oh yeah. Uh, so let's talk about the first harvest. You played Joanne. You
mhm.
kind of come in toward the end, but
Yes,
that was a phenomenal movie. Uh,
it was really good.
and I know that there, I can't talk too much about it because I did talk to Paul about it, but I know that there is a sequel
hmm
and that you are in it. I can't give nothing else away.
I, as far as I know, is I'm still in it. I haven't talked to Paul in a while. But as far as I know, I'm still cast as Joanne, and I will be reprising my role eventually for whatever reason. Can't tell you.
Oh, yeah. Uh, I want to say though, like when you came in at the end, I thought the film was solid straight through, and then when you came in at the end, and you were a total badass. Like you were like, who the fuck are you fucking with? You know what I'm saying?
Thanks. I actually got to wing that a little bit because Paul was like, yeah, you know, just whatever comes to mind when you're talking to this crazy guy. And I was like, oh man, with me, my fight or flight, I immediately go to fight. So like if there was a issue and there was a crazy guy in my house, my instinct would not be to run. It would be probably like, why are you in my house and why are you invading my comfort zone?
Oh yeah. No, I detected that a lot. Yeah. But I did notice because with the first harvest that was and I didn't say this with Paul, but I think it was more along the lines of female empowerment movie, if anything else, especially with Holly. But when you
Yeah.
came in and you did what you did, and then that twist came, I was like, okay, not only is she a badass, but she can pull the wool over people's eyes too. So I was like, okay, color me surprised.
Yeah, I loved that little twist at the end. It was really nice. That's one of the reasons that I agreed to do it.
Yeah. Uh, all right, so I'm gonna skip the formalities. Disremembered. Now, I don't know if you've seen the interviews I've done with other people who've been in this movie, or even when I've talked about this movie. The
No, I have not.
the ending of that movie. Movies don't get me emotional at all. And I swear my wife was sitting with me. I got so emotional. It was like I could almost feel tears coming out of my eyes just because of the dialogue and the way you guys did the ending of that movie was so phenomenal. And I'm gonna go as far as to say probably the best ending of any movie I've seen in the last 20 years, and I'm only 45. You know that.
We really appreciate everybody worked really hard on that. We all worked really hard on that film. And SJ is a phenomenal writer. So when I read the script for this, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna need to be in on that. This sounds great.
Oh yeah. Uh, I mean, you guys tackled a lot of different real life topics in this movie, and the fact that the what was happening with your character. Because I don't want to ruin it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but I strongly suggest everyone go see it. Uh, but what was happening with your character and how it started to how it ended was almost a full circle moment. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like you started it, nice and peaceful, and everything you went through, you still ended it nice and peaceful, only way more emotional. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I think this is kind of one of those movies that offers catharsis for every single character involved, at the end of the film. Um, Everybody kind of finds that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow with this situation, which is something that you don't see often, unfortunately. Especially in thrillers like this, they usually tend to kind of stick with a very like either melancholy ending or only one person gets that pot of gold and everybody else is kind of like the happenstance, well, why you say fuck me for, kind of thing. So,
Well, everyone got that pot of gold except for Beth.
yeah, unfortunately, Beth did not get that pot of gold.
But her part in the film served even its important part. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, that part, filming that specific portion of the movie was like so wild. And I just I was in the rough like end portion of my first trimester filming that movie. So everything that you see in that film I had done while I was super sick and pregnant.
Damn.
So I was definitely actually feeling all the emotions, like for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna go on record right now and say, and I haven't said this to anyone other than my wife, that that movie re in reinvigor gave me a reinvested interest in other genres than just horror. Because
Oh yeah.
even though it was like based as a horror film because of what was going on, I didn't see it as a horror film. I
No,
saw it
it's
as
definitely more of like a psychological thriller kind of.
yes.
There's drama too.
Oh yeah. Uh I rated it a 10, 10 being best, but actually having you on the show and some of the others on the show, I'm actually going to put it in my Hall of Fame. So
We appreciate it. Thank you.
yeah. Now you were in some other movies that were good, but I just like Triple Xmas.
Ah, it's like literally my favorite movie.
Like when I
That
was
is
watching,
my favorite.
oh yeah. Uh, when I was watching that, I was like, I remember it. It was a Saturday night, and it was like I think 11:45, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna watch this movie because one, you're in it, and other people are in it, and I'm a big Felissa Rose fan, so I was like, I'm gonna watch this
Listen.
movie. Was not expecting exactly what I got, but that's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
uh,
a lot of people do not anticipate that movie to have an actual storyline, and then when they watch it and they realize that it's good. There's like an actual story, and it's really like well put together. It's not just like some, thrown together hodgepodge of things. They're like, oh, this man is on to something here. Plus Drew, I mean,
yeah.
man's a legend.
Oh yeah. So your character is Christy. We're not gonna
Krispy
say that.
Kreme.
Yep. uh,
Like the donut, people, like the donut.
I will say though, like your character, was probably one of the most like again badass characters in the movie. Because you were telling people left and right, you were like, hey, fuck you too, and fuck you too. And I'm like, damn.
So when James wrote this and messaged me, he was like, I had you in mind for this role. And as I was reading her, I was like, it's almost like you wrote this like as me to a T, because this is exactly how I am. I've been in the sex work industry since I was 18. I'm 27, so almost 10 years now. And I in the beginning was a little more meek and a bit of more of a pushover. Like I didn't stand up for myself as much as I should have in the first couple of years. And as I've gotten, older and acquired more, rings on the belt and all the things, I, realized that much like everything in life, if you want something done and you want it done proper, you need to tell people and you need to make sure that you tell them yourself. Because if you don't, then, shit's not going to get done. People aren't going to listen to you. They're not going to respect you. They're going to look you over, yada, yada. So it's very important that you be an advocate for yourself and for other people because there's a lot of times I'm on a set with a girl and she'll be doing a nude scene and it's just a full fucking room of people. And I'm like, do you want this to be a closed set? Because this should literally be a closed set. Like you're about to be boobs and cooch out. Like why is Billy Bob and Joe all in here watching when they have no business watching? And 9 times out of 10 they say, I would love a closed set, please. So I'm the one that's like, hey, everybody needs to get the fuck out.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, doing scenes like that. I mean, it's only right you guys get the respect you deserve because you're not doing it for like everyone on set to be there and enjoying it. You should. I mean, you're doing it for the art.
I always say, Lil Kim said it best. You have to pay extra for the fucking third eye. So if you're going to have people in here watching, everybody is going to pay. So Billy Bob and Joe can stay, but they're going to Cash App or Venmo me because they have no business being in here watching me get naked. They're not part of this scene. They're not part of the crew, none of that stuff. So they need to get out. Which
Oh yeah.
usually there's never ever an issue with like nudity and closing the set and stuff, but there have been a few occasions where I've had to be like, these people don't need to be in here right now.
Oh yeah.
So
Uh, and we're gonna skip over one movie because I know it's not out, and I know that you don't like being asked that question. So we're gonna go right to Wasp.
I already know what you're gonna. I already know, but yes, thank you for skipping that. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
So we're gonna go straight to Waspzilla. You play
Love that
Deputy
movie.
Callahan.
And her twin sister Stephanie.
Yep. So if you can give a little bit of a synopsis on that one, I mean, I think it pretty much speaks for itself. But
I
go ahead.
mean, it does pretty much speak for itself. So we're in a small town in Virginia, and some spillage happens, some chemical spillage, and it basically turns this little itty bitty wasp into a giant killer size wasp. And Deputy Callahan is tasked with the job of bringing that big bug down.
And your outfit is reminiscent of the Bride in Kill Bill Part One.
That's why Brad and I picked it. He
uh,
messaged me the outfit idea and he was like, not only does it match the wasp colors, but it looks just like the bride's outfit from Kill Bill. And I was like, sold. I'll have that. Thank you.
uh, uh, so when you're doing movies that like Waspzilla and stuff like that, and you're getting into these characters, do you find it like every character is different,
Hmm.
especially the characters that you play? I mean, they're all different, but they all have one thing in common: you play them as a badass. So, other than the badassery, which I don't even know if that's a word, uh,
It is now.
how do you prepare for each different character?
So I usually like to ask the director what they have in mind when it comes to my character. 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell me that she is the character that gives no fucks. She's very blunt to the point, kind of a bitch. You know, that she's that friend that's gonna look at you and be like, "Listen, I love you, but that idea is fucking stupid as hell. Why would we split up?" Like that is me. That's usually what I get cast as. So I ask them, do you have any references perhaps for characters from films that you would like me to use? Or actresses or actors, or am I allowed to bring my own flair onto this? Because I have very specific inspirations when it comes to like my acting styles and how I like to deliver stuff. One of them being I'm a big Bruce Campbell fan. So 9 times out of 10, my dialogue is going to come off kind of sarcastic and very much so filled with machismo and bravado. And that's because of that man. So I have to know because if you just let me run with it, I kind of get into this headspace and I very much so play it like a badass Bruce Campbell character. Like I get in there, I've got a job to do, I'm ready to do it. I've done this before. I'm just ready to get us out of the haunted house in one piece. Like that's what I'm here for. So
Oh yeah. Speaking of Bruce Campbell, he's actually here in Michigan this weekend for
I
Astronomicon.
know one of my favorite wrestlers just got to meet him. Danhausen just posted a photo with Bruce Campbell, and I was like, "What's it
Yeah.
like to live my dream?"
You've not met Bruce Campbell yet?
No, I haven't, and I would like to meet him in a more of a panel setting than in like a just really quick meet and greet because I have things about like Bubba Hotep and stuff that I would like to ask him, and I just don't want to be put in a position where I can't have an actual conversation with him about stuff. So.
Well, you didn't hear from me, but there's a rumor he will be back for another convention here next year. I don't know how true it is. And if he is, and you and your husband and your children want to come up here and stay at the hotel that they're going to be at, I could hook you up.
Yes, please, because if he comes back, I would really like to meet him. I know they say don't meet or don't meet your idols or whatever it is, but yeah, I'm gonna meet him. I want to meet him. He's got to be a cool cat. I feel it in my nuggets.
He is. I met him last year, no, 2 years ago. Yeah, because he was at Motor City Nightmares,
Oh
and
yeah, he was. I saw photos from that.
yeah, he was cool. He was wearing his yeah, he was cool. I don't want to. This is about you, so yeah. I'm sorry.
You're
Uh,
okay, no worries.
so you were in the short for sorority babes.
I was.
Uh, very, 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 like women empowerment movie in more ways than one because there was a lot of violence and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
What was that set like? Because I could only think that it was awesome.
I was the first to die, so I spent the least amount of time on set. So I would like to think that that set was really fun and really cool, but I wasn't there long enough to really do much. I was there to chit chat a lot of like with Lynn Lowry. I got to talk to her quite a bit, and that was really nice. I always loved seeing Angel, loved seeing her on sets. So, I got to talk with the people that I normally would talk with, and then we pretty much filmed my stuff and I left.
Uh, just so you know, anytime I see you and Angel on the same screen, the first thing that pops in my head is disremembered. So,
Oh, that's good. Normally we get Waspzilla because we were both topless, so
eh, well, you probably won't hear this a lot, but yeah, I understand it does something for the film. But to me, I'm more along the lines of I like a good story, and if you can get me in my feels, you've done something that since I got married to my wife, I haven't felt. So,
I can appreciate that, I like them both. like that's why Triple Exos is my favorite because not only is it filled with boobies, but there's also so much emotional depth and range in a lot of the characters and a lot of the scenes. So it's kind of like it is literal physical evidence that you can have the best of both worlds. James Dean does that phenomenally. Also, if you can hear a barking dog in the background, I truly apologize. I
You can probably
dislike dogs so much, so it's not mine. Trust me.
no, it's my dog.
No, it's mine.
Oh, no, my
Like, it's
dog's
not
barking too.
my dog, but it's like on my side. It's my neighbor that has a dog that she lets
Oh,
outside and it barks for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. So, I apologize if you can hear that in the background.
well, I actually can't hear yours over mine, so all
Oh, fantastic. I can't even hear your dog, so that's cool.
right, that's a good thing then. Your next film, again, phenomenal. You play Sarah in Killer Campout Part 2. Now, I've interviewed a lot of people from that film,
That was a fun
and
one.
and that was a fun movie. Like beginning to end was awesome. Uh plus you and I know the movie came out last year, but I'm the type of person that if I see a movie in 2025, it's a 2025 movie. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense.
So I'm letting you know now, you and Melissa are up for an NC-17 award later this year for Best
Ah,
On-Screen Duo.
I love Melissa. She's like one of my like set wives. I love her. I just got to do a convention with her and I'll be getting to share convention space again with her this month at this month at Screamiverse Expo in Roanoke, Virginia. Gonna get to hang out with her and I'm excited.
Oh yeah. Uh, I'm hopefully eventually going to make it out to some of the conventions out there. Right now, I'm strictly Michigan based, but hopefully one day I can come out there and support you guys. And
Oh, Ohio is gonna have so many. There's so many happening. I'm actually gonna be at another one that I did last October. It's called Sinister Horror Fest, and it is going on the same weekend as Cinema Wasteland. But let me just tell you now that I would prefer Sinister Horror Fest over Cinema Wasteland any day.
all right,
That's why I'm going this year again.
well maybe me and my wife will make a trip down there and see you.
It's all outside. They do have drive-in movies at the end of the night. They show two movies every night, and it's older horror films. Like last year, I think they showed a couple of Vincent Price films. Um, There's
That's
all
cool.
kinds of vendors, food, pumpkin carving contests. I mean, it's really cute and fun. And there's way more like walking space, more breathing room, because conventions can get really, really cramped.
Yes, yes they can. So in Killer Camp Out 2, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but I thought the movie from beginning to end played very smoothly. Every character had their part, and especially Tim Hell, the luckiest man in the whole damn movie.
I freaking love Tim. I put Tim in my own movie and I'm gonna use Tim again because I absolutely he is my fellow Aquarius. He's a great guy, did great in that movie. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he was with Kristen in that movie, and she is adorable. I loved working with her. The girl with the short hair. I don't remember
Yep.
what her character name was, but she had the short hair, smoked the cigarette, was real sassy.
Yep. Oh no,
I love
yeah,
her.
yeah. Every character in that movie was good. Uh, I think the badassery was kind of took a little bit of a backseat a little bit in this one, and you were more along the lines of. I mean, the way it played out was like you were more along the lines of you you didn't want to be there, but you were going to make the best of it anyway.
My character in that film is one of my few films where I play someone that's a little more meek, someone that has a little more like she's more shy, not nearly as outspoken kind of thing, which is exceptionally hard for me to do, but I did it.
It's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
It was
Uh,
really hard to play meek, but I did it, and I feel like I could have. When I look back on it, I was like, "Girl, you could have been a little meeker. Could have played that up a little more. You should have been a little quieter, a little softer. Look at the ground more." I just was not. It wasn't in me, dog. Now it is. Now I know. Going back and watching it, I'm like, you should have played a little more shy. Play with your hands a little or something. It is what it is. I
uh,
still felt like I was definitely the top out of the two between me and Melissa. So, ah,
I won't argue that point.
like topper, but like topper. Oh God, I can't. I don't know how age appropriate I'm allowed to. I don't know what the rating is on this thing, so I better just behave. But I'm sure Melissa will know when she watches this.
I mean, it's called NC-17 for a reason. We just can't go X-rated. So,
Oh, fantastic. I was about to take it way past the ratings that we were allowed to exceed, so.
it's all
Duly
good.
noted.
Uh, so before we go on to your next couple of films, let's go back a little bit. And was there a specific scene up until Killer Camp Out 2 out of all the movies you've done that kind of stands out to you as like, this is what I need to, like strive to do or do better?
Um, well, I mean, anyone that is learning that, it does acting the way that I do, which is I did not go to school for it. I didn't take classes, I didn't have a coach. So every set for me is another stepping stone. It is me going in and being like, all right, so even if we've done a character type like this, what can we do this time that is going to make it different, that is going to make it better? And then you kind of add those building blocks onto whatever it is that you've already had. Um, Looking back on a lot of those roles, the only thing that I wish that I would have done better was I wish I would have done the twin sister in Waspzilla with a little bit more of a hillbilly accent, and I wish I would have made her a little more bubbly than what I was, because if you watch me side by side, I literally made them almost like twins when it came to personality. Like Stephanie was a little more bubbly, but not the way I should have played her. I wanted to go back and do more of like a Jessica Simpson Dukes of Hazzard.
I can picture that.
You
Oh,
know?
oh yeah. Uh, so I don't know how many people have asked because it to me it's not even a question that should be asked, but I kind of like to break the mold around here a little bit. Uh, that's why I like to break the mold as much as I can. But anyhow, so I've noticed through your films you've had several sets of glasses.
Yes,
I like to call them your co-star.
they are because I definitely need them to see.
uh, was there a specific set of glasses that you've had or that you have that kind of like stand out to you? Like, damn, this makes my character pop a little bit more.
So in the beginning I had these I still am a huge weeb. I love anime. But in the beginning, I was just coming out of a huge like weeboo ooh woo phase. So I had these like frameless square glasses, like the ones that Uryu wears in Bleach. And I wore those in fucking almost all of the movies for a long period of time. And when I look back on it, I could kick myself because I'm like, girl, for the love of God, could you could have just took them off. Like who Gah, you know? Um, but then I started with these glasses doing stuff, and I noticed that if I were to change the frames, that it would really add to the characters, and I should have done that back when I had my little thin specs, but it is what it is. Anymore, I like to take them off. It just makes life a lot easier if I take them off. The only time I will leave them on is if the movie is the majority of it is in the dark, or anything like that, because I have trouble seeing this far in front of my face and all the way out in the distance. So I like require some kind of vision.
Oh yeah.
at some point. Yeah. I did do Intinction, a short film for Bobby Knipe, and I did not wear my glasses for a lot of that. And I don't know if he got it in the special features, but there is many a time where I was coming out of the bushes and almost ate shit almost every time. Like you can watch the nun kind of creep down to like pick up her dress a little bit because I'm like trying not to eat shit while I crawl out.
Oh yeah. It's I want to say though, like that's what to me, and even my wife when she's seen some of your films because she refuses to watch some because they're too gory. Uh, she agrees that it is like your defining characteristic outside of your badassery. So
Needing my specs is definitely, if I have any trademarks, I will take playing a badass and having glasses as being two solid ones, honestly.
oh yeah. Uh, let's talk about air fryer slaughter. You play Neptune.
I
What was
did.
that like?
Well, it was a remote role that I filmed for somebody, and it was a remote role. I do really quite enjoy Matthew Mark Hunter a lot. Uh, I was brought onto that film by somebody that does not quite enjoy my presence anymore. I don't know why. But I do love the guy that actually like directed it and put it together. He is doing all kinds of cool shit right now. He's got this like jester kind of clown thing where he's taken over his social media. I mean, Matthew Mark Hunter is a guy that you should really look into having if you haven't.
Oh
He
no,
is
he's been on.
spectacular. Has he?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I quite enjoy him. Yes.
I mean, he takes he takes like things that you wouldn't expect to be like main villains and turns them into seriously terrifying things.
Yeah, he does. Like, I would never think to be afraid of an air fryer, but here we are. I'm actually kind of terrified of an air fryer. I have an air fryer, haven't touched it in months.
Uh,
Subconsciously, I think it's because of that movie.
we have one too, and I don't touch it because I'll burn the house down. But that's neither here nor there.
Okay, that's okay. Some people are not meant to work the electronics in the kitchen.
Nah, that, me being one of them. So one I haven't seen, Coven of the Black Cube. You play V. Well,
Oh,
what's that one about? And kind of like little brief synopsis, I guess.
I I loved that movie was really fun to do. So, I was actually in my third trimester when I was filming that movie. And it was fantastic. So Coven of the Black Cube follows a girl named Violet, Vi, and she moves to a little town and tries to find her peoples, trying to find a coven. She's like in a relationship with a girl that's kind of a shithead. They're falling out, and long story short, Violet ends up meeting a actual real life witch, and she just happens to be part of the Coven of the Black Cube, and she doesn't know it. And her life kind of starts taking really wild left turns, like NASCAR.
As long as it's not Bubba J from Jeff Dunham NASCAR, you're good.
Oh my God, they're taking another left turn.
Yes. Yeah. Uh, all right, we got to get into Natasha. This, I'm gonna say, best on-screen death, and I'm sorry for spoiling it.
It's
Probably
okay. It's
of the
already
year.
been spoiled by so many people.
Like, Cocoon was an awesome movie, you know, and everyone in it was phenomenal.
Oh God, yeah. Everyone was great.
But your death scene was first unexpected, and then second was like, wow.
So I remember, okay, the original was supposed to be that it was gonna crawl up, in, and out, you know.
Yeah.
But instead it gutted me. And I was pretty bummed about that because I was hoping to have like I don't know if you've seen Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror, but there's a scene in that movie where they force feed this chick a bunch of stuff and her stomach starts slowly like expanding and then it kind of just like bursts and like popcorn comes out of it. It's like a phenomenal scene. And it was I was hoping it was gonna be something like that. But we didn't have the time to make a prosthetic like that. So instead, Bert, the raccoon, gutted me. And there's a running joke, see how many times I say Carlos before I die. Because I say Carlos an obscene amount of times before I die. And at one point, Brad, I remember him looking at me and being like, "See how many times you can get Carlos in there before you die." Because I was like accidentally saying his name a lot. And Brad just like the next take, he was like, "All right, now this time, I want you to say it as many times as you think it would fit in." So I say Carlos a lot. It's you could play a drinking game with it, to be quite honest.
So when I showed my wife that scene, because I mean, granted, she don't like blood and gore, but I was just like, I've never seen nothing like that. So I told her, I was like, you need to come down and see the scene. So she came down and watched it, and I was like, don't that kind of remind you of like the Meow game from Super Troopers? And she was like, it
Oh
it,
my
it
God.
does.
I hope Brad sees this. That's fantastic. That's
Uh,
awesome.
but I want to say, watching that film, definitely. I mean, because where I live at, we see some raccoons sometimes. I ain't looking at no more raccoons like that, but they ain't friendly little creatures ever. But this one was definitely off its rocker.
Oh yeah. Bert was Bert was angry. Bert was an angry raccoon. Someone did not leave the right kind of cat food out for him to steal and he was not having it.
Oh yeah. Uh, would you say that that was your favorite death scene, or is it up there with one of your favorite death scenes?
Now I have to go through my death scenes and figure it out. I would say that this is probably my favorite just because of how disgusting and gnarly it is. Um, but I love all of my death scenes because I like wet takes. I love gore. I think that that shit is really fun. Um, yeah,
Uh,
but this was definitely, I suppose, would be my favorite for now. Hopefully someday I can top it. I'm really gunning for like the blonde and Terrifier, chainsawed down the center type vibe sometime soon.
that movie, that scene in Terrifier made my wife refuse to watch anything with anybody who has paint on their face.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember sitting down with my old roommate back when this had come out, and we watched the new Terrifier together. And she looked at me and she was like, "This is what you watch for comfort." And I was like, "Yeah, man, you don't think that this shit's like I don't I thought it was pretty I thought it was cool. I like Art the Clown. I think he's kind of cutesy the way he kind of sneaks in with his weapons. My favorite scene is in Terrifier. I think it's the third one, maybe. No, it's the second one. When he creeps into that chick's room after he's like completely dismantled her entire frame, and he's just creeping in with bleach and salt, like, I'm back again.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. Uh, See, that's one of the things that you don't find in a lot of people today. Is like you don't. A lot of people are like, "Oh, that's too graphic. That's too this." I mean, all right. First off, it's entertainment, you know, and it's not like. Well, I mean, people can probably do that, but we don't condone that shit here. But anyhow, it's all
Well,
for entertainment.
I think people like to pretend that horror movies are too graphic, but these are the same people that will literally watch Fox News so that they can watch people blow other people up.
True.
So
True.
I don't, the thing is with horror movies make you sit down with everything that makes you unfucking comfortable in life. And you have to like have it shoved in your face right here. And I think that that's why people don't like stuff like Saw or Hostel or Terrifier because this shit happens in real life, but you can't just like, you know what I mean? Like this is real. This can be done. This isn't, Freddy Krueger coming into your dreams. This isn't a zombie apocalypse or a werewolf. This is a guy that could literally come into your house and do this kind of damage to you
Yeah.
at any given point.
Oh yeah.
That's why they don't like it.
I agree 100%. You know, uh funny story real quick if you can indulge me. So my wife and I, true story of I'm the one on the wrong side of the tracks. I grew up in Detroit. She grew up in wherever she grew up. I don't want to really put it out there because her mom,
That's
well,
nice of
fuck it.
you. Thank you.
But she getting with me, she just didn't understand the way I worked when it came to watching movies. Because the scariest thing her mom would let her watch was Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
That's a classic. When when they pull the cotton candy off that guy's face and they realize that that's kind of grody. I don't know. It's pretty graphic, I guess.
Believe it or not, up in our room upstairs, we have a life size cotton candy with the guy's face on it.
So I wanted to buy that from Spirit so bad because one of my favorite movies is Killer Clowns. I have all the masks. I have a shorty costume. I have a like I kitchen towels. I really do quite enjoy those films. But I just where in my house that my kids can't destroy it am I gonna hang a life-size cotton candy cocoon? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Maybe when my children are older, I'll be able to have stuff like that. But I'm just imagining now my 3-year-old swinging off of that thing like a fucking monkey in a gym. I'm like, get down.
Oh yeah. Nah, she I think that's part of all her Killer Clown memorabilia is up there, and like she's got the life size ray guns, and she's even got the pizza box with Shorty coming out of it. All right, she
I
got it all.
love it. I love it. Did she get the pie? Does she have the pie?
Yep.
Yes, I wanted that too.
Yeah. I
Damn
think that's
kids.
why she won't let me bleed none of my stuff up there, but whatever.
She needs to have her woman cave, you know what I'm saying? That's her special area to go and meditate.
It's very true. Uh so after Cocoon, you were in this film right here, Blood and Breakfast.
Ah, yes.
A remote role. You play
Yes.
Destiny, and let's just say that a certain Matt had a good time but didn't have a good ending.
That is correct. I loved that role. So I was starting to move away from doing just straight sleaze, I suppose. And Matt came to me at the very end of all that and was like, I know that you've been talking about not wanting to do this kind of stuff anymore, but will you read this and let me know what you think about it? Because I really think that you're going to enjoy it. So I read the script, I read the dialogue for Destiny, and I was like, this is fan fucking tastic. This is exactly the kind of woman that I am. Like, this is great content here because I actually own quite a bit of serial killer memorabilia. Now, am I aroused by the thought of any of the things that went down in the film that I was in and all that other shit? No, I'm not that crazy. But getting to play that, a blast. I loved it because that's how women really are. Like you see it right now with that Luigi guy. Like I mean, romanticizing the hell out of this guy. Do I think what he did and all that shit that he stands for, super cool, whatever? Yeah. I hate big hell CEOs. They're not great people, yada yada yada. But would I put him up on a pedestal and be like, "Oh my God, Luigi"? No. No, no, no. That is a different level of therapy that I don't really have to go to. So,
Oh yeah.
but
uh,
getting to play someone like that was super fun. And I mean, the dialogue was really well written. He let me do whatever I wanted with the costume, the character. Getting to react like that was super fun. The only negative is I was gonna do a wet take, just for shits and gigs. Like it was coming out of the screen at me.
yeah.
Forgot to do that, so we
Uh,
didn't have that alternate cut. Yeah.
uh, I want to say though, like in every single film you've been in that I've seen, at least, and whether it be a small part, big part, main part. I want to say that there's again one constant in every single one. Even when you're playing meek characters, you're still a badass. You know,
I just
and
can't shake that.
well,
I'm
it's who you are.
trying.
No, it's who you are. Got to be true to who you are, right?
Man, I gotta I need someone to cast me in a really meek role so I can just prove to people that I can play that character that's like really just like a little mouse.
Uh, uh, so we'll talk about two of the films that you got coming up, and then we'll because we're reaching the kind of the end of the show. But I do want to talk about Slaughter on a Set. You play Argento.
My God, I don't know when that's gonna be coming out. That's another one that's very much so like the house that eats flesh, unfortunately. I don't know when they're going to let Shane put that out there. There's a lot of turmoil between the two, whatever you want to call it. Um, so it's kind of just hanging in limbo. But I did get to play Argento, and that was super fun. I played partners with Kelsey Baker. She played Fulci, and we were like part of a special effects group. And it was a blast. I got to play a little goth badass, like I was helping out on a horror film doing special effects and stuff. So
Oh yeah.
I died
Uh,
really cool in that movie too, also. I don't know if anybody's ever gonna get to watch it, so I'm totally okay with spoiling that. I just want people to be able to see my death scene because me and Kelsey acted our asses off in that warehouse. It was the middle of winter in fucking Maine.
damn.
Stephen King can keep that cocaine fever dream of a fucking state. Seriously, cold for no reason, so cold. And like I'm butt naked in this warehouse and I have like a tiny space here, which you can't have on while you're filming because you can hear the whirring in the background, just covered in blood. But yeah, super cool.
And this next one is not going to mean what it says, but it's about some killer chickens.
Killer Cox. Just
Yes.
when you thought it was safe to leave the coop.
You've played. It just says as Morgan Thompson.
I play Ruby Romero.
All right.
And she is a reporter. She's reporting a fried chicken cook-off, and that's about all I can tell you because I don't want to spoil it too much. But she is a remote role, but she was super fun, and James is in the talks and in the works of possibly doing some more Killer Cock stuff in the future, and that means that I will get to be hopefully back for round two of the Cox.
All right. We'll talk about. Well, I'd be really. It would be unjust not to talk about Sister Sullivan.
Yes.
Because off the hills of the first harvest, there's more to that story I know that needs to be told just by, again, talking to Paul and stuff. But what is your takeaway and like everything about that franchise so far?
I think that Paul has really got something. And he's doing a lot of great with a little bit, and that is what I love to see in the indie community, and I love to see, more people getting involved and helping him bring his like dream to life because this is all he's doing all of this on his own. Like it's all like the guy that is filming for him, it's on a very nice expensive iPhone setup. Like they're doing it in like friends' homes like you should be doing indie film, you know what I'm fucking saying? Like it's real nitty gritty indie film and you literally cannot tell.
Uh,
You
speak.
can't.
Uh, speaking of like filming in friends' homes and stuff like that. So, I've touched on it a couple of times. So, my script for the first movie of the trilogy that I wrote is done, and I'm talking to people about, hey, can we film here? Can we film here? Blah blah blah, et cetera, et cetera. And I've been lucky enough to come across some really cool people who are willing to let us use their places.
I
So
love that. I love that. community, camaraderie. That is what indie film is about. Supporting one another, helping each other create art. That's what I want to see.
Oh yeah. And one of the scenes takes place in Michigan's largest video store.
I love that. Video stores are a dying breed, so if you can find one to film in, kudos.
Oh yeah. Uh, but yeah, but that's enough about me. Uh, so we're pretty much at the end of the show, but I'm gonna give you the floor for a couple minutes where you can plug your socials, where people can reach out to you or not. That's entirely up to you. Where they can watch your films and pretty much just follow your progress as you continue doing the awesome badass shit that you're doing.
Heck yeah. So I got the rundown. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I also have a Blue Sky. All of these are under my name, Morgan Milam, or The Morgan. Um, those tend to vary on safe for work and not safe for work, so just be wary of what you're adding. Just saying. Um, I have adult pages that you can follow also. I have in all my links. Those are all linked there. My all my links also has links to my movies that are free on Tubi, movies that you can buy on Amazon Prime, physical copies you could get like on websites and things like that. Links to conventions, links to interviews. I will be appearing at Screamiverse Expo in Roanoke, Virginia, April 26th and 27th. I'll be doing my second premiere of my first writing and directorial debut, Martian Girl Massacre, Saturday at noon. And then on Sunday, wait, on Sunday at noon. Saturday, I will be holding a Scream Queen panel with the amazing Nancy Ann Ritter, known as the cool chick from the Scream bathroom scene. We love her. So from 3 to 3:45, I get to sit and chit chat with her, and we get to talk about all kinds of really cool stuff. Um, Also, really fast, I want to plug this film because this is going to be made, and I'm very excited about it. Brad Thomason, the director of Waspzilla, and I are collabing once again on a film called Succula. It is a horror comedy musical. It is about a vampiress and her two little vampettes that are essentially using adult websites to ensnare and eat men. It is going to be fantastic. We're getting songs. We're going to have the soundtrack. Brad is looking at doing a few vinyl copies as Indiegogo perks. We already have the Three Gals cast. I will be playing a role, but it is one of the smaller ones because I'm co-directing. I have links to that on all my socials. I really want people to be able to see this, join the group, get involved because this is going to be a good one. I'm very excited for this to be made. That's why I'm pushing so hard for Brad to like do this movie because I mean, a horror comedy musical, you don't hear that being made very often in the indie community. So, if we can get funding and get this bad boy off the ground, I think we got ourselves a little classic on our hands here.
Yeah. I think the last horror musical anything I saw. Okay, I can't lie because my wife watches Repo the Genetic Opera at least three
I
times a
love
week.
Repo.
Like when she met Bill Mosley, all she said was like, "I loved you in this, but Repo's where I'm at," and I was like,
Hmm. He
that's how.
probably loved that. Those actors love when people do the deep cuts rather than, the usual. So,
Oh yeah, and it was. She loves that movie, so. I know the words to every song in that movie. I will not sing it because this ain't American Idol and I suck. So
oh my God, I absolutely love that though.
you know, but no, it has been a tremendous honor to have you on, and I thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad that I finally got to do this. I'm sorry it took so long.
No, it was worth the wait, and I'm not the type of person that's like, hey, if you can't be on, fine, I don't want you. No, I'm the type of person I'm gonna work with you because I know life happens, and I know that you have your career and your family and stuff, and I'm very understanding, so no
Thank you.
problem.
I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, and I'm just going to say on a personal note, don't change who you are because you are a complete badass.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah. And everybody definitely follow her on all her socials. Check out all her movies and help get that horror comedy musical Succubus up off the ground and flying in the sky.
Yeah.
All right. I normally close out the show with everyone stay NC-17. Morgan, you can close out the show today.
Ooh, everybody stay motherfucking NC-17.
There you go.